How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I tell you what, the saga of trying to follow what exactly is going on, providing like videos on rumors and all of these things, it has been exhausting. I'm sure from everybody's perspective, whether it's you who are watching this. From my perspective, it's been difficult. From players and organizations and franchises, it feels like this roster mania truly will go down as one of the crazier ones that we've ever seen, and obviously for a few different reasons. So was this all just some massive joke just to see what would happen amongst the community? Was this, you know, basically them testing the waters? So there's three ways that I look at this. There are three different scenarios that I would say could be the culprit behind what looked like a dropping of players and then an instant laugh off type of thing where everybody's now back on the team. So I would say the first thing that I think could have happened with this whole scenario would be that there was a major delay, right? So what I think could have taken place was that there was all of the things that we were hearing about were basically like 3 to 4 days old. So the reason why we saw the reaction that we did out of DASHY and ILLEY, kind of like this, haha, see, we're sticking together, is because maybe this news that had happened, maybe bringing in players like Hydra, bringing in players like Cammy, Attach, Skies, etc., maybe the reason why it's a laugh off thing now is because actually that was happening a week ago, but we just happened to find out about the news now. And so maybe that meant that the team was actually in consideration, maybe picking up a few other players, but that's the reason why we're kind of laughing it off the way that we do. Because when in reality, Optic Texas actually knew, hey, we're really sticking together. The news is just taking a long time to pick up. The other option that I could see happening is basically what I just said. However, it wasn't delayed. Maybe whenever these tweets came out, it was true. ILLEY and DASHY were off of the starting lineup, and there was a conversation that had happened. Technically, as of recording this video, last night, from the moment that it was tweeted out, from the moment to where we saw the other tweet coming in where they said back to 22 to 23, maybe during that period of time, there was a serious conversation that was around the idea of, hey, you know what? DASHY isn't doing what he needs to do. Maybe this is a out of game type of thing. Maybe ILLEY with the injury, maybe they decided to put those players out there, figure out what happens, and really test the waters for that period of time. And then they came to the conclusion, okay, we really can't get who we want. Maybe Cammy's a restricted free agent, so we don't really want to pay that buyout. Maybe when it comes to getting attached, there's a lot of options out there. Maybe we don't want Skies because that's not what the team wants. Maybe if we wanted Hydra, paying, his salary in comparison to what New York is offering is just too difficult to feed. Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't think this is a matter of like, oh, Cammy was too hard to get attached. There's just so many options out there. Hydra's maybe the only one that I think maybe could have been a thing. But I think if you're Cammy, you're a restricted free agent. I think that Optic Texas can get him. I think if Attach realizes that an Optic position is available, the role makes sense, he could slide in here as well, etc. The list goes on. So I don't think it was a matter of like Optic Texas not being able to acquire the players. I think it was a self-realization of, okay, these are the pieces that we have, these are the options in play, now what do we do? And they eventually decided this is not what we want, this is not the team that we want. And I think on top of it, maybe it was a necessary scare to somebody like DASHY, who again was rumored to maybe having some internal problems with the team. Maybe the realization of the fact that he could be dropped from this team at a moment's notice woke him up, the conversation was had, and then we moved on from there. Now, the third and the final thing that I think could have occurred with this was a matter of ILLEY's injury. What I mean by that is that potentially maybe there was a situation where ILLEY was finding out a major result. I know we're digging here, but maybe there was a situation involved where ILLEY was going to the doctor to find out, basically, can he play for this season? Like, is this actually going to be the case? Do I have the ability to be on a full-time starting position, be able to use my hand and not have any problems? And maybe based off of that result, he came to a conclusion with Optic Texas. They went back and forth. Him and Rambo and the entire team talked, and he said, listen, guys, I'm figuring this out. Let's have an agreement to where You guys can go ahead and search for a player while I figure out if I am good or not. And so Optic Texas went out. They figured out who was available. We've got Cammy. We could bring in Attach. Maybe we can bring in Hydra, Skies. And what maybe happened was during that time period, a lot of people were assuming, okay, ILLEY could be dropped. DASHY might be dropped because we have a flex player coming in to the team, and now we have Hydra that could come into the team. So technically that would mean that Scup would have to move to the flex. And now what actually may have what might have actually taken place is that ILLEY's basically out of the picture for the moment. And during that time, when we're thinking of, like, you know, flex players that could be getting added to the team, we're thinking it's for DASHY, when in reality, it's actually for the flex of the team. DASHY's the main AR. Why were there only flexes being talked about, right? Why was there an SMG? Why was there a flex being associated to these rosters? It was never a main AR choice. It was always about Cammy, who's a flex, Attach, who's a flex, Skies, who can run a main but technically is a flex player. Maybe it got lost to the grapevine while ILLEY was figuring all these things out. Optic figured out, okay, these are the players that we can get, and then ILLEY came back and said, hey, I'm cleared, I'm good to go, we checked everything out, now let's rock it out for this season. So those are, to me, like the three scenarios. I think it's probably a version of one of them, if not maybe a few of them combined together. I know the tweets don't make 100% of sense. You know, things are obviously still a little bit up in the air, but there was no question about it in my mind whenever I saw the announcement and thought about it for a little bit, that there actually was a decision that was being made. There was a moment where ILLEY and DASHY were out of the plans. Scump and Shotzzy were moving forward, or maybe at least Scump was by himself, and thinking, hey, what do we do here, right? Because you did see the tweet that came in from Arshties, which is still a little bit confusing. We'll be making a video about that very soon. There was rumors that Shotzzy could have been linked to the Atlanta phase. Obviously, he's an unrestricted free agent. You know, when it comes down to like this August 22nd signing period, he's available to talk to other teams if he would like. So I don't think that this was a clear-cut type of move where it was a laugh. I really do think that there was a situation where, you know, there were players on the table. There was a conversation that was had. Who do we keep? Who do we not? Let's move DASHY off the board. Let's move ILLEY off the board and see what we can do with this. You guys can feel free to let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are, obviously, on all of the news. What did you make of it? What was your reaction like? You guys obviously got to see mine. You know, what did you make of the decision, and how do you feel like this Optic Texas team is going to do now moving into the next year? I think it's fair to say another video that we could do is talking about Optic Texas entering into year 2. How is this team going to perform now that ILLEY is back in the lineup? And the last thing that I will leave you with is that when you do look at that Optic Texas tweet, it just says back for the 2022 to 2023 season. And they did link 4 players. That doesn't mean that another player couldn't be added to that. It doesn't mean that ILLEY is guaranteed to be in the starting lineup. It just simply does say that they are going to be back. They're going to be on the team. So I will leave you with that. Not going to add any unnecessary speculation into the world right now, but it definitely was a legendary day of some good old roster mania. And on topic with that, you guys, if you're ever confused or ever curious what is going on, you can feel free to always come and check out the channel. We're going to be doing and uploading anything and everything that we can when it comes down to off-season roster mania content. So make sure, if you have not done so already, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and as I said, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on this whole situation, Optic Texas moving into this next year, and what in the world that we're going to talk about next. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, obviously, down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will catch you back here very, very soon here on the channel. Take it easy.